The importance of planes in World War I. At the start of World War I, planes were introduced to add a strategic advantage in warfare. These planes, however, did not help in physical warfare. Due to the lack of their strong structures, they are made out of trussels, wooden trussels, that were layered with fabric. Now, as we all know, bullets and other things would fly right through this. So, officers figured this out really fast and decided to use them for something else. They decided to use these planes for reconnaissance and transportation. These planes were good for reconnaissance because they were quiet and unnoticeable. This allowed their ability to get behind enemy lines very easily. While they're behind enemy lines, they were basically like spies. They used mappings of enemy movements and artillery positions to bring back to their own allies, to plan movements and artillery positions to attack the enemy. But don't think these planes, being as frail as they are, couldn't stand up in a fight. They also use these planes to defend from other planes in their airspace, which would result in dogfights. The planes was also used as transportation and transporting of information or letters between different outposts. This allowed for faster and better communication. These planes, however, weren't big enough to carry troops, but they were good enough to carry information so that officers can bring troops over to new lines of defense or attack. This allowed armies to plan faster and accordingly for enemy attacks and their own attacks to allow the enemy to have less time than normal to defend their attacks. Later on in the war, they began to produce bombers. And the bombers changed the tide of the war. The bombers were bigger, but yet still fragile. They used these bombers to advance the trench lines, which is right here. And the bombers advancing the trench lines back would help the Allies move forward. The problem with this era is that trench warfare was prevalent. And in trench warfare, they have two trenches with men filled throughout. They had a place in the middle that was called Dead Man's Land. Now they had machine guns on each side that would mow anybody down who stood in this part of the land. So this resulted in what you call a stalemate. And in this, they could not advance or retreat, which made the war last longer and bloodier. People would run out of supplies and food, and it would just end horribly. But with these bombers, they added compartments so the bombers could actually drop some bombs on the trench warfare and make the enemy retreat back so that they could get the advantage and move up to stop the machine gunners. These biplanes, however, were very unmaneuverable. They're very large, very slow. Used up lots of gas, very inefficient. So they used the smaller biplanes to help protect the larger biplanes, the bombers, in the time of war against other fighters. And with these biplanes being protected successfully, they could move back enemies, and that's what caused the war to end as fast as it did, because it would break the stalemates. To conclude, planes were used as effectively as possible during this time period. The technology just started in 1908 when the Wright brothers first made the first mechanical plane. So in 6 to 7 years' time, they did not have enough technology advances to make what we know today and what we knew in World War II as the aluminum chassis and greater firepower. So, however, their planes still allowed the war to end as quickly as it did, so it proved its worth, and they went on with greater improvement to help out and be the greater assets in World War II.